Thank you, Chris. Hi. So the topic of my presentation today, I guess Chris wrote the topic, the dawn of the global games publisher. But I found it to be a very interesting challenge to fill out the content of this. I want to start from the beginning. I always like to do that. In 1997, I was at a technical university, and one of my best friends showed me his new Nokia 6110. And it was the first phone that had a game on it, and not any game with snakes. It was a very simple game, but it was multiplayer. So we played this against each other on the breaks. And I was blown away. I was completely, I was sure that this was going to be super big. Instantly, I founded a company soon after to make mobile games. This baby also had a stand by time for 200 hours. What happened with that? This is a screenshot from 2006. At that time, I've been struggling for about 7 years trying to make great mobile games that would be profitable. As Chris mentioned earlier, it was two problems back in those days. It was distribution and fragmentation. And one big thing was that the end consumers didn't get good quality games. So people would buy a new phone, typically download 1 or 2 games, and feel ripped off, and nobody was really making money. No developer who was investing in this got their money back. So it was really not a working market until the App Store came along and changed all this. And I think it's worth to note that it was really the simplicity and the innovation in user interface that changed and laid the foundation for the games market, mobile games market that we have today. I met this guy, Steve, at a barbecue party in 2000, and a private party in 2008, before the App Store was launched. And he showed me a game prototype that he was working on, and he wanted a lot of advice on how to make mobile games. And he later became one of the poster child for Apple on how simple it could be to make your idea come true. And he sold Trism hundreds of thousands of copies or even millions for $5, and they later changed that to $3. And he was really somebody who showed how simple it could be for anyone to make money on the App Store. Same thing in 2010 with this Andreas Illinger, the German student who made a fantastic game called Tiny Wings. I spent a lot of time playing this. So what happened in 2013? Last year, one trend that I seem to notice is that there was 3 games that was topping the grossing chart all year, basically. And that was Candy Crush, Clash of Clans, and Hay Day. We launched Candy Crush Saga in November 2012, and it has been quite a stable number 1 on the grossing chart. This is the US chart for iPhone, according to App Annie. And Clash of Clans and Hay Day have the similar type of charts. King just recently went out and said for the anniversary of 1-year anniversary of the mobile game that we had 500 million installs, which is a fantastic number that is came to a shock to the development team as well. We had an early bet in the beginning on the download numbers, and even though I really guessed on a high number, I was 10 times off the first weekend, so we saw that it was going to be really big. One of the big differences from the early days is definitely the marketing and discovery that needs to go into the concepts really early on. And this is also one of the powers today. As a successful game company, you don't only need a great pipeline of making great games, you also need to have a fan base that you can continue releasing games to. And that's really one of the differences between before, when you didn't have this direct connection to your consumers. This is an example from our app page, Candy Crush app page on Facebook, that has today almost 60 million fans that we can communicate directly with, and they can also give us input on what to do. That's how the Candy Crush Candy came out as a product, that we were hearing a lot of requests from fans. And these are great, a great asset for a games company when releasing new games. We recently released Farm Hero Saga, which is made from the London studio, which is a new studio for us. And this is the first big release, and it's on the top chart here of the top grossing Android apps. We actually have 4 titles here on the top 10 list. And I'm not only saying this to brag, I also want to make the point that having the connection with your fans today is really one of the strengths that you can have as a company, especially if you continue targeting the same target audience. So let's have a short look on the spread of Candy Crush. This is what it looks like on Google Trends in November 2012 when it was launched. So not a whole lot of people were searching for Candy Crush. And then as this advances, you can see how it becomes more and more popular in America and some part of Europe, and also in a few countries in Asia. And it continues until what is today, and what we feel is quite much a global success, even though there is definitely a few countries there that's not represented. There is something called We Are Social, a report that was released recently that has data from updated data from January 2014. That's a really great report. It's a little bit too long for me to go into any details, but it's saying that we're now more than 7 billion people on Earth, and 2.6 billion is today connected, which is a very interesting comparison to our current number of active users, or we have 282 million monthly unique users between our games. So a little bit more than it's definitely connected with the number of people who are connected. And also, if you go back and look at the charts here, this is typically where the social networks, especially Facebook, is strong, of course. Because the Candy Crush, the most important channel for discovery has been word of mouth and people telling their friends about the game. But the social integration has been extremely important to support this, of course. And I have argued many times before that it's not very complex social integration, but it is there, so you easily see who of your friends is playing the game, and people like to talk about this outside the game. That's the really important thing. So one of our clear potential growth areas is Asia, of course. We have seen that the game has become super popular in some regions of Asia, like Hong Kong and Taiwan, where they're using Facebook a lot. This is pictures from Hong Kong's Times Square that was counting in the new year in Candy Crush candies. One of the things that we've done is that we have partnered with KakaoTalk, that is the dominating social network in Korea, and has a little bit more than 80% of the Korean market. And here I am shaking hand with the CEO, Sigro Lee. And that has been a very well-working strategy for our games. This is, again, the ranking history in South Korea since launch. And we're now one of the few Western games that's actually on the top list. So I wanted to try to prove a little bit kind of my gut feeling that we're seeing this trend going from a lot of few garage developers to fewer large companies. So I used App Annie to search for the top grossing companies during 2011 and up till now. And I concluded this table where I saw that there was 26 companies in 2011, 20 in 2012, and just 10 last year. So think that we see a clear trend that there's fewer and fewer companies in the top 5 of the App Store. So just to conclude my 10 minutes here, which still has 20 seconds to go, is that I definitely think that the opportunity on mobile games continues to grow. We're seeing a lot of more new players coming in that hasn't discovered games and just now seeing how much fun games can be as an entertainment form. It's going to be more and more social components that's going to be important, and especially if you can make them in offline mode, because the networks are still not as good as they should be, especially here in London, by the way. And as I said, I think that fewer companies are going to dominate the top grossing chart for 2014. Thank you very much.